Hello, and welcome to the Wellness Rock Show with your host, Stephanie Deal, where we dive deep into women's health mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. Together, we will discover through these 5 pillars how God designed our bodies to consume proper nutrition and how that applies to creating optimal wealth in our lives. Here, we will unravel all the education and expertise that you need to get your body, mind, and soul in alignment with where it needs to be. As a disclaimer, I am not a doctor and I do not provide medical advice. Please speak to your primary physician before starting or stopping any medications. All right, everybody, welcome back. So happy you guys are all tuning in today. And we have a very, very special guest with us today. Her name is Leah Brueggemann, and she is a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner who specializes in hormonal balance for women. She helps women balance their hormones naturally with nutrition, lifestyle, and finally getting to the root issue. She's helped over 400 women get painless periods, stabilize their moods, lose weight, and finally feel like themselves again. Leah has a passion for helping women connect to their cycle, which is their superpower. So I'm going to let her introduce herself a little bit and we'll get into it.
Hey ladies, thanks for having me on, Stephanie.
Yes.
So, like you said, my name is Leah. I am an FDNP, and I talk about periods and cycles ad nauseum because I think they should be talked about more. I grew up, I had 6 brothers and 1 sister, and
Wow.
So you could basically say you have period cramps and get out of anything because my brother's like, ew, gross. Like, nobody, no commiseration there. And I grew up thinking that period cramps were just part of being a woman. My mom told me, yes, they're horrible. It prepares you for child labor in your future. And I was like, okay, well, why would I ever want to have kids? This is horrible.
Right.
So I really didn't know much about them. And I just kind of thought that periods were horrible and they were designed to make us feel horrible. So when I got diagnosed with fibroadenomas, which are benign breast tumors, I decided not to have them surgically removed because most of the time they return. And that's what dove me into the whole, like, let's figure out what's causing them. Let's figure out what's going on with my health. And I started talking about fibroadenomas because when I found out that I had them, I had to Google it. No idea. And even when I went into my doctor's office after I had found the breast lump, my first visit, he was like, what day of your cycle are you on? And I looked at him like he had 25 heads. And I'm like, my last period was like 2 weeks ago. And he goes, okay, so you're on like day 14. And I just was like, no, I'm not on my period. Like we were talking 2 different languages.
Right.
Because I thought your menstrual cycle was your period. I thought it was like, that 5-day event when you're bleeding and that's it. And lo and behold, no, you have 4 phases to your menstrual cycle.
Right.
And it's continuous. And it explained so much about what was going on with my health because I just thought when my period was late. And I thought maybe it was something that I was currently doing instead of I wasn't ovulating. So I just feel like every woman deserves to know about their menstrual cycle. They deserve to understand their menstrual cycle, how it can be, used as your superpower. You can use it as a diagnostic tool to help guide you when you go talk to your doctor because you know what phases things are going off of, and it can just help you so much. Everyone just needs to know about their menstrual cycle.
Right. Absolutely. And I feel like it's not... When did you ever learn in like health class about 4 phases of your menstrual cycle? Like all you learn, like that's something that should be taught in health because, I mean, as you're growing and learning in your body, you need to know these things so you know how to have a right cycle and hormones balance and all these things, which is vital to living a healthy lifestyle.
It's so true. And also, the more you know about it, too, the less we freak out about random things, and the more you can advocate for yourself, because instead of you having irregular cycles and you go into your doctor and he's like, oh, okay, I'll just put you on birth control, because again, lack of education there, that's what they are educated on. And the more you know about your cycle, you're like, well, that's suppressing ovulation. If I have irregular cycles, suppressing ovulation is not going to fix the issue.
No.
And literally, this is something where the more you know, the stronger advocate you can be for your own health.
Absolutely. And I mean, they say knowledge is power, and knowledge is power in any circumstance of whether it's your health or your wealth or your business, whatever it may be. Knowledge is power. 100%.
Knowledge that you implement. I think that's part of our key there.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So before we really jump into the questions, we always like to do an icebreaker question just so our audience can learn a little bit more about you. So if you could be any animal, what would you be?
I thought about that. I was like, I have so many answers I could have for that. But I feel like I have to go with my favorite animal, which is a horse. I just think that horses are they're so intuitive and so loving. But they're so quick to learn as long as it's presented the way that, is in tune to them. And plus, who doesn't want to run 40 miles an hour and feel the wind in your hair?
I love it. Yeah, that is very true. And they're so beautiful and elegant. So I definitely see that.
They really are. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I know you just shared a little bit about how you kind of became passionate about it. So when did you really know that you wanted to help other women do this? So you went through your own experience, but when did you really want to make it a business where you were helping other women find and become knowledgeable about their own hormones?
That was just an accident. So I actually went to college for music, and I have my bachelor's in piano and voice, and I was a full-time musician.
So you're a singer.
Yeah, I just kind of went the opposite way. And that's what I did. That was my full-time job. And then I literally vividly remember this. I had been going through all of my health struggles, and I had been learning so much about my cycles, and I was starting to feel so much better, and my skin was clear, and my cycles were regular, and my periods were painless now. And I was having a walk with my friend, and I tell her this all the time. I'm like, you are the reason why I have a business. And she's like, oh, so should I get commission? And we're going on this walk, and she was asking me these questions about tracking your cycle. And she goes, okay, for the millionth time, I just don't get this one part. If you ever want to do a training, you should do that, because I would come to your training. And I'm like, if you would come to my training, I wonder if other people need this. And so that's what I did. I hosted
that's good.
A free 3-day training on understanding your cycle from a health standpoint. And so many women came. I remember I got off the training, and I'm just telling my husband, I'm like, oh my gosh, there was so many women, and they were asking all these cool questions, and they don't know this about their cycle, and it's just awesome. And that's how my business began, because there was such a need for it. So many women were needing that support and that help, and it just grew from there. And I actually then went on to become a functional practitioner. So I went back to school. I was like, oh, so much for my music career, which I still do that a little bit. But I went back to school to learn more about functional health, and that's where my business came from. It literally came from a need of women needing this support, and I had been right there with them. I was on Google going how do I get rid of my fibroadenomas? Why are my periods so painful? What's this magic remedy that I can take for my period cramps that's going to solve all my ills? I've been there and felt really lost, and so I totally resonate with it.
Wow, that's amazing. That's actually so cool. Did you do it you did it online? So you did a 3-day training online?
Yeah. It was just, I think it was in a Facebook group. I didn't even host them on Zoom at that point.
Wow, that's so cool. And that's so exciting. It's just falling into your passion. Just let me just 100%. Somersault into it.
Yeah. And then I was like, wow, business is a lot of work.
Right.
But it's totally worth it.
Right. We just had a conversation about that. It's a lot. But it is worth it. 100%. So I know you talk a lot about like seed cycling in your episodes, and I listened to your episode about seed cycling with Funk It Wellness, and I thought it was so interesting. So when did you really start seed cycling, and how did you see a difference from before and after?
So I came across a lot of the research on seed cycling. This was a later addition that I brought to my work when I was pregnant. So I couldn't do any seed cycling myself.
Oh, okay.
Because it wasn't going to affect me. But
Right.
up until this point, I had already been doing a lot of stuff to support the different phases of my cycle. And that's how I had been able to bring up my progesterone. That's how I've been able to get painless periods. But it's a lot, to start with. Like if you've never done anything like this, it can be a lot, and it can be easily overwhelming.
Right.
And there's actually been studies that have come out on seed cycling recently, which is
Wow.
so cool, because when do foods actually get studies? It's pretty rare.
Right.
But you can find, this different research on it now, which is very cool. And it is so simple to do. And it is such an easy addition that women can bring to their cycle. So when it comes to making changes to support your menstrual health, to support your hormonal health, to support just your health in general, simplicity is key. And sometimes those little steps along the way, they become a snowball effect. And seed cycling is one of those. It is just so simple, I feel like, for so many women to implement, and they can start seeing positive outcomes from it. And then they're just like, okay, well, what's the next step? What's the next thing that I can do? And they can keep building on it. So that's why I just love seed cycling, because it's a food, right? Mm-hmm. And unless you're allergic to it, it's generally going to work for most women. Like I said, unless you're allergic to it.
Yeah.
So that's great. It's not like a supplement where supplements are just so individual. It's not, there aren't a lot of generally good supplements out there that everyone universally can take. So starting with food is just incredible, and it's easy. And I mean, seeds taste good if you put them in the right concoction.
Right. So why don't you tell our audience a little bit what it looks like to seed cycle regarding the seeds in phase 1 and then seeds in phase 2. Well, not phase 1 and 2, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So with seed cycling, what you're doing is you're rotating seeds with the different phases of your cycle. So yes, you do have 4 phases of your cycle, but in terms of seed cycling, you're going to kind of break it down into ones that are supporting ovulation, and then ones that are going to be supportive of prostaglandins in your period. So you, on first day of your period, you're going to be taking pumpkin and flax seeds. So this is 1 tablespoon each of the seeds, whole, organic, and then grind them before you eat them. They go rancid a lot faster ground, which is why, like, if you buy them, for example, ground at the store, they've probably already been sitting there for a couple weeks. So whole, organic, and then grind them before you eat them. It's 1 tablespoon of each a day, every single day from your period to ovulation. Now, these seeds are really high in lignans. They're really high in zinc. And so what this is doing is it's helping support egg quality. And lignans and phytoestrogens, when they're organic, are very supportive of estrogen levels. So if your body needs to make more estrogen, it can help support that. And if it needs to detoxify, it can help support that. And again, they're full of soluble fiber as well, which can help, obviously, bind to estrogen as your body is moving it on out. So it's a great support there. And the better your egg quality, which again, this is where we're coming in with some of that zinc, the better your egg quality, the better your period's going to be, because better egg quality means stronger corpus luteum, which is what produces your progesterone. So then therefore, you're going to have better, like, less mood swings, less PMSy, better periods, less acne, all of those good things.
Well, we're all going for.
All the things we want, all the positives. And then ovulation to period, you're going to be taking sesame and sunflower seeds, 1 tablespoon each every single day, organic, whole, grind before eating them. Now, these are high in manganese, these are high in magnesium, these are high in vitamin E, again, soluble fiber, again, B vitamins. So what this is doing is it's actually, these vitamins are very, very, very supportive of progesterone. So vitamin E is very supportive of progesterone, which is awesome. And B vitamins are very supportive of mood, which, we all want extra support